up with a Marshall Plan. And in this Marshall Plan is actually cutting across all the regions we are operating in, and I believe Kenya is going to be the biggest beneficiary. We have set aside $7 billion US, equivalent to almost 840 billion Kenya shillings, to support the businesses. And out of that, the impact we are projecting is that it's going to create 5 million businesses across the region, and every business we are projecting is going to create another 5 individual businesses that are going to benefit individuals. So in total, about 25 million businesses are going to benefit. Out of that, Your Excellency, we are also projecting that 50 million jobs will be created across the region. And I believe this is going to have a big impact. We as Equity Bank are really very focused to support SME, because we believe SME are the greatest drivers of our economy. Again, Your Excellency, we have products specifically for the SME. We have working capital solutions. We have trade finance solutions. We have CAPEX solution to take care of our customers. So I'm extending an invitation to all the SME customers to reach out to our branches so that we can be able to support them financially. Your Excellency, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerald. I just want to ask the next speakers to observe time. His Excellency has humbly requested we spend with him 1.5 hours, and we have taken a long time already. So I'll ask you to spend not more than 2 minutes. I want to call the manager of Trademark East Africa. This is Ahmed Farah, who again, I said, are great partners, and they have been able to provide us with a platform where we can be able to reach out to everyone digitally. And also the certificates of origin that we issue to the exporters, they have been able to support us with the platform and that digital system. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Ngatia. The chief guest is Excellency Dr. William Ruto, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, Trade, Investments and Industry, Bwana Moses Kuria, Honorable Permanent Secretaries present, leadership, and the board of the chambers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It really indeed is an honor and a great privilege for me to be here today. 12 years ago, with the support of the government of Kenya, our development partners and implementing partners, Trademark East Africa embarked on a mission to promote prosperity through trade in the region. We have, over the years, delivered programs in Kenya and across Eastern Horn of Africa that reduce time and cost of trading and improve business environment for private sector to thrive and support businesses to actively participate in trade to improve their livelihoods. Your Excellency, our Kenya program, the largest in Trademark East Africa, is strategic because we recognize that Kenya is a major gateway to East Africa and a regional hub for trade, finance, communication, and transportation services. In the last 12 years, Your Excellency, Trademark East Africa has made some considerable contribution to trade in Kenya and the region. Allow me to enumerate some of those achievements, sir. We invested in the Kenya Ports Authority to increase the capacity and improve efficiency of operations at the Port of Mombasa. We also invested in construction of access roads to and from the Port of Mombasa, port gate expansions, berth upgrades, and supply of mobile harbor cranes and eco hoppers. We supported, as you're aware, Your Excellency, the construction and operationalization of one-stop border posts at Busia and Taveta to reduce the time taken to cross the borders. We also supported operationalization of Moyale border posts through the investments in the integrated border management process. Your Excellency, we will be delighted to partner with you and your administration and the East Africa partner states to realize your vision of no-stop borders with our neighboring countries. To increase the efficiency of custom processes at KRA, we worked with KRA to implement the integrated customs management system. Also, through implementation of the single window information trade system portals, we supported automation of import and export processes for various government ministries and agencies. This greatly reduced transaction costs and time for businesses. Your Excellency, we will continue working closely with the administration, the private sector, and civil societies to advocate and initiate programs that will enhance countries' business environments, competitiveness to promote export-led economic growth. On our forward look, through our export readiness training program, we are targeting MSMEs to help them deliver marketable products on a global scale at competitive prices. Awareness-raising initiatives will be undertaken on the benefits of exporting and to provide a general understanding of exporting as a means of interesting more firms to export. Cognizant of this, and towards my conclusion, the key focus of this meeting, which is the Chamber AGM, I would like to appreciate some milestones the partnership between Trademark East Africa and the Chamber has yielded over the years. From 2015 to 2021, we supported the Chamber technically and financially to develop an online web portal management information system aimed at improving the management and administration of certificates of origin and managing Chamber membership. The system was rolled out in 2015 and has been operational since then. Also, Trademark East Africa and the Chamber embarked on a second phase that aimed at enhancing system functionalities to further enhance efficiency in the operations of the Chamber by adopting more affordable, simplified, and accessible technologies through mobile enhancement. This phase placed emphasis on rolling out automated services to county chambers, thereby reaching out to more members and trading communities in Kenya. Your Excellency, this demonstrates Trademark's commitment to supporting activities that will power trade not only in Kenya but across the region. Allow me to take this opportunity to pledge our continued support to the Government of Kenya, East Africa Community Partner States, and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to facilitate projects that will enhance trade, improve the business environment, and enhance business competitiveness in Kenya, the EAC, and Africa at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now would like to take the opportunity to invite Absa Bank Kenya CEO Yusuf Lemar. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, our President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I think I must start by congratulating Your Excellency. Yesterday was a moment of so much joy to all of us as a country, ourselves when we were at KNCCI, to listen to your speed of execution, something that has been troubling this community in terms of business with South Africa. In 1 minute, in one summary, of all the achievements that you did yesterday, removal of the visa to South Africa, amazing, well done. Removal of all those trade barriers. I can imagine yourself with the team last night at State House, moving with speed and executing and removing the trade barrier. That is amazing for me. So I start by saying thank you. This business community, there's nothing else we need apart from just creating that environment where business can be able to thrive. From ABSA, we have gone around the country recently to 10 counties. We've met so many people, the delegates that you're seeing here. We've listened to the SMEs. We've seen what are the big challenges that you're facing, and we are responding. We are going to support you together with what the government is doing. We are coming to you to say we can be able to give you unsecured lending to the tune of 10 million shillings. We are coming to you and saying for the business to be able to thrive, LPO financing, invoice discounting to the tune of 50 million shillings. And we are coming to you, especially the ladies, knowing the challenges that you're having, creating a kitty of about 50 billion shillings to be able to support your business, making sure that we can be able to give you opportunities to markets, information in basic things like bookkeeping, and also giving you coaches, mentors that can be able to make sure that your business is thriving. We went to the counties and met quite a number of governors. And the governors told us in support of the president's Hustler Fund, which is about 50 billion shillings, which the president has promised by around December, you'll be able to come and make some announcements on it. The governors themselves, they've created their own revolving fund. And they've asked us, can you be able to help us in terms of managing the revolving fund and be able to see what you can be able to do from an ABSA perspective? We've moved on, we've committed. Whatever revolving fund that the different counties are going to come up with, we're going to match that and be able to make sure that this gets to the allocated, SMEs. Mine is brief, Your Excellency. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, together with, I'm sure, the entire nation. We always say, if you create a good environment for the business, the private sector is going to thrive, the public sector is going to thrive, the economy is definitely going to thrive as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We also have a representative in refrigerated houses and aggregated centers to power, export, and manufacturing. If you're here, please make your way. Are you here? Please raise your hand so that I can see you. Okay, I'll straight away go to our main sponsor, who is Diamond Trust Bank Group CEO, Nasin Devji. Please come and share with us issues on financial.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, dignitaries present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the board, management, and staff of Diamond Trust Bank, I'm pleased to join you all here this morning, and I would like to thank the KNCCI for giving us this opportunity to be together. At DTB, we have a great appreciation of the business community in Kenya, specifically the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Our commitment is to support Kenyan micro, small, medium enterprises to advance and to ensure that the ordinary mwananchi can readily reach us for any of their financial needs. Your Excellency, we have a special focus on women and the youth as underrepresented segments in business. In line with this, we recently unveiled the DTB Zawadi Savings Account, a savings product specifically targeted towards women-owned and led businesses and groups, encouraging saving and earning interest. We have partnered with the Rose Women's Foundation to roll out an income-generating and capacity-building program for women in Kenya's low-income settlements. In the markets, we have launched DTB Sokoni, a lending program for traders up to Kenya shillings 200,000. Each trader receives a free payment till and gains access to loans based on their discipline in collection of funds and record keeping. As we move further into the digital age, many of our youth-owned businesses prefer to interact completely digitally. As such, we are developing Infinity, a phone banking application product that will equip micro, small, and medium enterprise owners with all the tools they need to run their business, both on the street and online. Your Excellency, one of the key factors that limits micro, small, and medium enterprises' growth is a lack of financial literacy and access to services. In response, we have a financial literacy training program that builds the capacity across all areas of business. To ensure easy access to finance, we're expanding our physical presence and will add 40 branches to our network by the end of 2023. Ultimately, our expansion efforts are driven by our determination to be the bank that walks the journey with micro and small businesses, women and the youth, from one level to the next, as these businesses have a direct impact in the community, households, and livelihoods of Kenyans. In conclusion, I want to reassure you that the hustler nation can bank with DTB and bank on DTB for support at all levels of personal and business growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DTB. We have a representative on services. Mr. Omari, are you here? Mr. Omari? All right. Okay, we'll go now to the next session, which I will leave now to the protocol team.
Thank you. I wish to most humbly request the Chamber President to present patron certificate to His Excellency the President. May I most kindly invite Your Excellency to receive the patron certificate from the Chamber President. And there we have it, His Excellency the President being presented with the patron certificate as the patron, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Tumpigie makofi tumpongeze, Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Karibu. I invite Your Excellencies to take our seats. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. And now, congratulatory messages. We briefly watch the screens for congratulatory messages.
On behalf of Commerce and its Centers of Entrepreneurship, we'd like to congratulate His Excellency William Ruto, the President of Kenya, for becoming the new patron of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We've been working very closely with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry to deliver the ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship based in Nairobi, not only for the Kenyan business, but also for the East African businesses. We want to make sure that Kenya is leading the way on bringing more foreign investment for the region and also preparing the SMEs, the small business in the region, to take full advantage of the African Free Trade Continental Area, which is one of the largest trade agreements in the planet. We're very confident that through the partnerships between the public and the private sector, we can deliver not only the best environment for business in the region, but also make sure that we will prepare the next generation of entrepreneurs, especially the cross-border entrepreneurs that will make full advantage of the new policies and the trade integration in the region. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you so much for this opportunity, with many thanks to the leadership of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, President Richard Ngatia, and also everyone who's been working to deliver the ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship in the region. Thank you so much.
Greetings, everyone. I am Julian Kassam, the director of the ICC World Chambers Federation. speaking from our global headquarters in Paris. On behalf of Nicolas Uribe, Chair of the ICC World Chambers Federation, I would like to convey the hearty congratulations from WCF to the Kenyan National Chamber of Commerce and Industry on the occasion of its annual general meeting and the conferment of its incoming patron president, William Ruto. We're proud of the progress made by the KNCCI as a premier chamber in Africa and the incredible job they have done in advocacy, economic diplomacy, and SME support. The participation of KNCCI in the activities of the International Chamber of Commerce and its World Chambers Federation is going from strength to strength, and we're proud to count you as one of our distinguished members. Our best regards go to KNCCI President Mr. Richard Ngatia, past President Kiprono Kitoni, and Virginia Waringi from the KNCCI team. May you have success in the years to come, and you can count on the support of the ICC World Chambers Federation. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again, Your Excellency. Tumpongeze kwa makofi, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. If you allow me, Your Excellency, I will invite Terian Chebet for a very quick interactive session. Maria Terian, kindly.
Your Excellency says, Kenya has an estimated overall small business count of just over 10 million businesses, and that's depending on the data that you choose to decide on, with about 200 businesses registered daily in the year 2020. And as you will recall, that was when the height of COVID was. That says a lot about our collective entrepreneurial spirit as a people, our people's passion for business, and the opportunities they see within the business environment. The hustlers here, Your Excellency, are all looking forward to the 50 billion shilling Hustler Fund, which you have mentioned will kick off on the 1st of December. And we know that you are a man of your word. From the earlier presentations, you can see that these hustlers, Your Excellency, are not begging for free money. They only want cheaper and more accessible credit. This session will be an interactive session with your fellow hustlers, Your Excellency. They want to share with you their dreams for their businesses and how your government can catapult their business and impact even more. I'd like to welcome up on stage the President for Chamber, Mr. Richard Ngatia, who will be joining us to help coordinate this particular session. And our hustlers today joining us on stage, Mr. Elmikdad Hassan, who is an agricultural value chain exporter. We have Engineer Charles Kalomba. Please quickly make your way up on stage, who is representing the Juakali sector, and Ms. Esther Mwendwa, who is a hustler manufacturer. And of course, Your Excellency, you are also an entrepreneur. We've had your stories about starting your business many years ago. We would love you to join us up on stage, Your Excellency, President Ruto. By sharing a little bit about your story for His Excellency to understand.
His Excellency.
May we kindly get a microphone?
Lete mzee kama hii. Yes. Good morning. My name is El-Mikdad Hassan Nandwa. I run Fawaki Import and Export Limited. I'm just a 23-year-old agripreneur, and we do export of fresh fruits of fresh. For more than 6 entrants monthly, but due to challenges young hustlers like me face, we are unable to meet the orders because of things to do with finance. Basically, for us to be able to do that, we need a big amount of money, which is around 70 million, of which a young hustler like me, it's difficult to get such an amount. Basically, for us to start this business, we wanted to do something that we are able to also earn from, but at the same time, to also help our economy grow, whereby we believe that in exports, we bring money to our country, whereby we are also able to help the population, whereby you can see the families that we are able to feed, the farmers that we are able to support. At the same time, there are some challenges that we also face as exporters, which of recent is the case that exporters lost in court, whereby the levy that we pay was increased from 30 cents per kg, and at the moment we are paying 0.25% of the invoice value, which is kind of expensive for us, basically because the 30 cents per kg that we used to pay it quarterly, but at the moment now the 0.25%, we have to pay it in advance, which is almost 12,000. So for example, if a young entrepreneur wants to start working, he doesn't have the money, it's difficult for him to be able to access the market and to be able to export. Another thing is the delayed VAT refunds, whereby we believe as exporters we are supposed to be supported by the government, whereby if we can have a system whereby we can get refunded our VAT faster or even immediately as other countries do it, we'll be able to increase the volumes that we do, because with that VAT refund, we're able now to increase the volumes that we do and do our work as expected. Another challenge basically in the international markets is a non-payment from clients, whereby you export to a client, but basically they don't do according to your agreement. And because the consignment is in another country, when you even go to the other country to open a case, you lose it because basically they'll favor their national. So we have to do something about that. Maybe we can put a restriction. Basically, all Kenyan produce of a certain type goes at a certain price, and for one to export, maybe they have to do it you have to show that you've been paid already, which will compel even all the importers to work on the same one. We as Kenyans will not lose money in the market.
Thank you, Hassan. You can stop it for there now, and then we'll come back to you in a moment. I would like to hear a little bit more from the others, and when we will also engage in a little bit more detail once we have the introduction from the other panelists. Mwendwa, let's come to you. Please introduce your business to us.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Deputy President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Esther Ndenya, and I am in the manufacturing sector, food production, value addition. I work for a company called NTH Limited, and mine is a story of a hobby turned into a business venture out of adversity. From the fashion industry, wearing high heels, to the manufacturing sector, wearing gumboots now. I lost a business that I had built for 15 years during the COVID pandemic, and that's how I found myself in the manufacturing sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mwendwa. Kindly.
Of Kenya, Excellency David President, all protocols observed. My name is Engineer Charles Kalomba. Your Excellency, I'm here to talk about the story of Juakali, which is you've been really a supporter of Juakali for a very good time. Your Excellency, the Juakali sector was established in this country way back in 1986. Your Excellency, this is the only sector that really have been named in the Bible. In the book of Exodus, that one I know you are a staunch Christian, and you read the Bible severally. So if you read Exodus 31, from verse 1 to 10, you will see that this is a sector that God gave skills, and He gave the Spirit, and He gave the knowledge, and He gave the understanding. So when the Bible says in Hosea chapter 6, 4, 5, verse 6, that people perish because they lack knowledge, there's only one sector that doesn't perish, because, because they have the knowledge. And where is this knowledge coming from? That everybody in this country who has been to school, Your Excellency, I don't know whether you did it. You went to school with a box, and it's a Jokali box. It's a metal box. And this metal box has remained for my children and for my grandchildren. And it is only coming from Jokali, Your Excellency. So this is a sector that has survived in this economy for a very long time. And when the President Moi discovered this sector, when we took him to India, he saw what is happening in India, Your Excellency. We came and we are running so many things in this country with Jokali. Your Excellency, we have some challenges that we are facing in the Jokali sector. And of course, when you came to Bomas of Kenya, Your Excellency, in 2014, we were honored by you to come to be the chief guest, because we are going to be very ashamed, because a conference that we initiated to bring all the governors together, and one of the things that we are doing, this sector cuts across the entire economy. So when you look up at agriculture, look at energy, look at everywhere, like building, we have a lot of things that we are doing, Your Excellency. Today, we had requested that we shall play one of the images where we have done a Hustler tractor. We have produced a Hustler tractor, which is a cannibalized car. It's just a car that has been cannibalized into a tractor to release the oxen from the farm to go and do other assignments. Because it is only in Africa where commercialization of agriculture is through an oxen. So this tractor that we shall present to you as an image, you will see it is a tractor that will do 10 functions. And we are happy, Your Excellency, we are talking about how do we run away from fossil fuel. This tractor will be a solution to that, because it's going to use biofuel, which the farmer can farm for energy in the tractor. So I think for us, because she's a press on time, I can speak and speak and speak, I know, you know that, but we need to limit time because of your busy schedule. So I think if the tractor will be ready, you will see it. And then, of course, from what you have a lot of scrap vehicles in this country. You have millions of scraps. And if this is going to be your donation, as a father of this sector, you will say, take these vehicles, give me tractors, and the counties can enjoy tractors, and they can produce more. And of course, the many functions that this tractor will do, we shall produce. At the end of the day, Your Excellency, we shall be presenting to you a few other projects which are presidential projects that are incomplete. And yet, there is a very huge demand for some commodities from this country to international market because of those projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kalomba. President Gatia?
All right, thank you very much. I think now we just go straight to the panel session. Your Excellency, I want to start with you. During the COP27, Your Excellency, you spoke on a carbon market system that directly benefits communities. And the question then would be, how shall the government integrate the MSMEs in the climate resilience plan?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ngatia. And it is a huge privilege for me to be in this panel, and more importantly, to be in this session with the Chamber. I want to say a couple of things by way of introduction. I am a great believer in the Chamber of Commerce. When a few years ago, I came across Kiprono Kitony, he knows because he's here. I encouraged him to be part of the Chamber because I saw the way the Chamber was going. It had become a hostage of people who did not have the capacity to run a proper Chamber of Commerce. I am happy that today we have a Chamber of Commerce that we can say is fit for purpose and working with the government, with all the sectors, to project the right image of our country. I want to say congratulations to the Chamber. You are doing a good job. Secondly, I agree with you 100% that the Chamber can work with the government to organize the bottom. And what I have seen this morning is actually a testimony and a confirmation that indeed, with the chamber, we can leverage on your network to be able to organize the bottom of the pyramid, to get the many innovators, the many creators, the many entrepreneurs, the majority of the 4 million micro enterprises to get to a level where they can help us create jobs and they can help us create wealth. I have listened very carefully to Magdalene, to Trevor, who spoke earlier, to Eugene, who spoke earlier, and they present and they represent our future. The one asset that we have in Kenya, a very rare asset, is our human capital. We may not have gold, we may not have silver and all the other things, but we have the people of Kenya, and that is the asset that we have. And that is the asset that is going to turn around our nation. And I am happy that we are working together to sharpen, to model, and to shape the human capital that we have through training, through education, and I am very confident that going into the future, from all our learning institutions, training institutions, we should be able to build the human capital that is going to make the difference in our country, that is already it is making. That's one asset. The other asset, apart from sharpening that asset through education and training, we need to fund. And I am very happy that we are having a conversation and even listening to my great exporter here. The constraint that has been around our human capital and especially our micro and medium enterprises has been the concept of financing, affordable financing. I have listened to the banks who spoke to us here, great people from Equity to APSA to DTP here. I really want to persuade our financial institutions, yes, to be flexible in how they lend their finances, but also to consider the aspect of cost. What is the cost of that financing? I would have been very happy to hear Equity Bank say, we're going to lend to SMEs on a single-digit interest rate. And I really want to challenge our financial institutions with tremendous respect that it is possible and it is time that we inspired our micro and small enterprises by ensuring they have access to affordable credit. The government of Kenya is going to work with you as we fashion the Hustler Fund. I want to promise the country that the Hustler Fund is going to be on a single-digit interest rate, and progressively, for the smaller enterprises, we will begin with just a simple fee without interest, because we want to fire the bottom of the pyramid. That is where the engine of our economy is. The other item, listening to all these people, apart from finance, is technology. We must leverage on technology to be able to be efficient and effective. And that is why, if you see our manifesto, we talked largely about SMEs, because we know that's where the jewel is. And secondly, we talked about affordable finance. And thirdly, we talked about a superhighway. because technology, listening to Magdalene, I am very confident that employment is going to be ready and available if we can ensure that we spread technology, we have financing, and that is why we talked about the superhighway. The superhighway is supposed to do two things: to make sure that the country is connected, and I'm happy again to announce here that the real last mile in technology is the gadget. And already we are working with our telcos, our telecommunication sector, so that we can have a smartphone that is going to be less than 5,000 shillings. A smartphone that can do everything that you want. A smartphone that can make sure, today the cheapest smartphone is 10,000, maybe 15,000. We want to see whether we can get it to $30 or $40. And I want to promise the country that in the next 8 to 12 months, we will have the cheapest smartphone in Africa, manufactured in Kenya. And finally, the concept of the superhighway is to also make it cost-effective to trade on and to work on the digital space. And again, let me use this forum to say we have about 15% of government services on the digital platform. If you look at our manifesto, we said we are going to move 80% of all government services on the digital platform. Again, let me announce here that we are working on it, and by God's grace, between 6 and 12 months, we will have moved 90% of all government services onto the digital platform and ensure that from the comfort of your home, you can work with the government. You can get your licenses. You can get every government service online without having to travel to any office, without having to go to any park. And again, to use the digital platform to also collect our taxes. So, good people listening to each and every one of you here, the government of Kenya stands ready and available to work with you. And I have heard what my good brother here has said. I thought I have done a long introduction. Let me just say, answer your question.
Yes.
On the matter of climate change, and that's why we're saying technology is going to give us the opportunity to be able to deal with matters climate change. I'm going to encourage my brother from the Jua Kali that we are going to look at them, not just doing this, the tractor that uses renewable energy. We also want to see whether we can move all our border guys onto clean energy platform. There is absolutely no reason why we should not begin to walk the journey to e-mobility. All our vehicles, all our border guys should be on e-mobility. We should be able to convert all the borders we have so that they are electric and they can use renewable energy, solar, they can use wind energy to be able to charge, and we can progressively eliminate fossil fuels. And that is how the Jua Kali Texas is going to come on board.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Maybe I just go back to Mr. Kalomba. Maybe you can just explain briefly how the Jua Kali would be able to work with the sector of energy.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The Jua Kali has always been very ready from birth. And we know very well, we prayed, and God brought us a person who thinks like us. And in energy, we have some projects, very simple projects that we have done across the country. And we have piloted in 5 counties. And these are called community power centers, where energy, wind, biogas, generation, cogeneration is working together with solar and biofuel, with battery banks for productive use in those centers, with a digital village where the youth can go and join the rest of the world to do certain things. And we've done it in Nandi, in Himaki, in Kapchurwai. We've done it in Bomet, in Kitoben. We have done it in Siaya, in a place called Uhuru. We have done it in Changara, in Busia. And the last one we've done in Ngando, in Kirinyaga. And they are models. But the problem has been, as we do them as models, because there are several other things that we can talk about models that we have done. The lack of political goodwill, because it's a country that we have come up with a benchmark of finish politics, start politics immediately. But development delays. So I think for us, because of the huge knowledge that we have acquired from God himself, we are supporting some institutions. But the challenge we are having is that, like, for example, when the sector pushed for ban of importation of furniture for public office, we came up with a project on bamboo. So I think we shall be talking about how we can make furniture locally using bamboo because of conversion. And I think on energy, we're doing a lot of briquetting from waste. We're doing a lot of biogas generation. Like, for example, if you go to Naivasha, you'll find, Your Excellency, there is a team that was having 100 tons of waste of baby corn and cabbage as waste. Today, they are producing biogas, and you can package the biogas to use on automotive. So as we talk about the issues of clean energy and all these things, we need to go that route. And Juakali is leading the way. One of the challenges we are having and we want to unlock is institutional synergy. Because there are so many institutions in Kenya, especially the agencies of the government, that listen, they get agitated, they don't want even to involve the Juakali into their system. So you find even their boards, they lack representation of Juakali. Then the common manufacturing facility, which we have been pursuing the chamber to support us, where quality is supposed to be a measure for a Juakali product. When you talk about a wheelbarrow, the whole of East Africa is buying wheelbarrows from Kenya. The whole of all the jikos, and I'm told if you have a kitchen without a Juakali jiko, it's not a complete kitchen. Yes, so all the jikos are made in Kenya. But the quality and the finish. Your Excellency, I know you'll be with us in Kampala, and Excellency, the Deputy President may be with us in Kampala again. We are having a regional exhibition, and Juakali in Kenya is leading the whole region. And the chairman of Musea is here, Mureu, and he's the chairman of Musea, who is supposed to be leading the process in Kampala. So I think we are leading the region, and we want the region to really benefit from us. So
thank you very much, Terian.
Perhaps a final question, Your Excellency. Yesterday you talked very passionately about Kenyans accessing the South African market. Your Minister for Trade talked about the fact that it is smaller businesses that are doing the majority of exports, meaning that, which explains why we are only exporting products worth about $38 million, yet they are exporting, they're sending products here worth $650 million. What word do you have for the business people that are here today, both from the small business sector and the medium sector?
Let me first speak to the issue raised by Juakali. You talked about political goodwill. So, me sitting here, I am a bundle of political goodwill. So, at least one issue is out of the way. The second issue is the common user facility, which you have talked about. And you are so right. When we are doing the housing, for example, we said we are going to connect our Juakali sector to our TVET institutions, because in TVET we have a lot of equipment. We spend almost 25-30 billion shillings to equip our TVETs. And we are now saying there must be a working formula between the Juakali and our TVETs, so that the Juakali can leverage on the huge resources and equipment that we have in our Juakali to professionalize their work. But if you look at our manifesto, we have said that we are going to work with the Juakali, link them up to our TVET institutions, and create a common user facility where we have the most modern of equipments to be shared by different people in the Juakali sector so that we can elevate the quality and the specifications of the products that they produce. So you are spot on, and I want to confirm to you that is a plan we intend to implement. And it's going to cover the textile sector, the leather sector, the wood sector, the metal sector. All those sectors will be covered in our common user facility that we are going to equip, either in every county to begin with, then we will move to the sub-county, and then we will move to the Juakali sheds, which can be shared by different Juakali players because it's expensive for one person to buy. But once we put a common user facility under the management of the Juakali, they can share in the common user facility for all the equipment that they need to be able to elevate the quality of their products to the correct level. On the item that was mentioned by Terian, yesterday, we not only unlocked matters to do with travel, we also unlocked and eliminated barriers. Number one, we've had a 10-year ban on our meat products accessing the South African market. We have committed ourselves, and yesterday in the evening we got a brief from the ministers concerned, but by December this year, the ban will be lifted so that our products can access the South African market. We cannot sell our tea to South Africa. We have a challenge selling our pineapples. We have a challenge selling our avocados, as was mentioned by this young man. The issue was that we are operating on different phytosanitary requirements. We have said we are going to harmonize our phytosanitary regulations so that by January we can be able to access the South African market as they access our market. That way, we can begin to bring down the difference in the trade levels between our two countries. As was said, they are selling to our country $650 million US. We are selling only $40 million to the South African market. And yet, the primary or the premium products that we'll be selling to South Africa have barriers. One of them is tea, and I persuaded the president of South Africa that by January, February next year, we should be able to export our tea to South Africa. And I do that for all the other countries, including our neighbors, and I want to persuade all of us here, whether you are in fintech, whether you are in agro-processing, whether you are in the Juakali sector, we must focus our market beyond Kenya. And that is why we should leverage on the East African community, and more importantly, we should leverage on the infrastructure given to us by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Africa, ladies and gentlemen, is our market for our tea, for our coffee, for our milk, for our fintech, for all the products that produce. We must raise our horizon to the 1.2 billion people in the African continent. And we must target the 2.7 trillion GDP and make some of it Kenyan GDP. And I am ready, I am willing, and the government of Kenya is going to work with each and every one of you in your sectors so that we can scale up. I like the words of Magdalene. She said, her enterprise is scalable and her enterprise can be expanded. You know, I really like that. And that should be the mindset that we have as Kenyans.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very, very much, Your Excellency. I would want to go straight to Esther. And you've listened to His Excellency, and he's demonstrated on how his government will facilitate the private sector. In your view, Esther, what would you want the government or the private sector to do, particularly in value chain and the agro-processing in terms of sustainability?
First, Your Excellency, as you know, the manufacturing is quite capital intensive to set a manufacturing plant here. And it's also a challenge for the hustlers to be able to access financing. I'm calling myself an hustler manufacturer because I got into manufacturing food production with no food technology, knowledge at all. I am a product of the Kenya Industrial Research Institute. First, some of the challenges that we have is malt licensing. We have to pay so many licenses to be able to set up, plus the fees. At least you need 400,000 to be able to set up a factory in Kenya. I don't know how many startups will be able to afford that. Some of these licenses can be grouped together and it can be made cheaper. Annually, for renewals, we need at least 200,000. That is quite expensive for a startup. Another thing, it's on the taxes. It's like getting a baby and expecting this baby to feed herself in less than a year. So we are requesting for moratoriums or a grace period to be able to get on our feet so that we can be able to pay taxes without default. And another thing, we are also having very good fabricators locally. We also need the fabricators to be empowered financially so that we can be able to access machinery without really spending so much, and they can also be able to give us credit terms. In terms of financing, we would like to see a grace period given to any facilities that is extended to us in terms of loans for us to be able to stabilize before we start paying, and if at least we can be off from 6 months and above, because manufacturing is quite requiring. So these are some of the things, and also sensitizing just the consumers on the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative so that we can also be able to support the products that we manufacture here, because I believe we are competitive in terms of packaging. We've really upped our game in branding, and we are good to compete with the international market. A month ago, I was in Germany, and I looked at what is there. And the products that we are having out there internationally are as good as the products that we are manufacturing here and branding here. So we need support in those areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, we'd like to close our interactive session. Our hustlers, thank you so much for sharing your challenges as well as your successes. Yes, Your Excellency.
Esther deserves a response.
Yes.
Because she has spoken to the heart of value addition and agro-processing and manufacturing.
Yes.
And it is a big component of how we are going to move our products up the value chain. We cannot continue to sell unprocessed, semi-processed, or poorly processed goods in our market. We must up our game, and we must support people like Esther who venture into adding value to our products for local consumption and even for export. This is a subject we have discussed extensively, and that is the reason why I hired Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria, can you respond to Esther? Come here. Just come to the podium there. Because Esther wants to know how we are going to support them. What is your KCD going to do? What is, how are we?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Esther, I hope you know the level of unemployment that there is in Kenya. So please don't add to it by getting me fired. But because I don't want to get fired. Esther, I want to tell you that first, using our Kenya Industrial Research Development Institute, we are now running up to 50 to 100 clients, SME clients whom we are incubating there. From our Kenya Industrial Estate, we have another 50. We are now going to roll out these incubations to every county. And that is the basis. That is the basis of our common user facilities. I have received already a lot of requests, and people are offering land, and I want to thank governors, Your Excellency. Governor of Elgeyo Marakwet has offered me land. Governor of Laikipia has offered me land. Governor of Nyeri, actually, where on Saturday I was giving out relief food in Kieni, we have agreed on 150 acres of land available from national government, where we'll put up our first pilot common user facility. So I want to tell Esther and all our SME manufacturers, at least you'll have a home. And let me also reiterate to Your Excellency, we don't have a problem of money at all, at all, at all. I've had a discussion with banks. I've had a discussion with the World Bank and other development partners. The problem is what you have alluded to and what President Gatti has alluded to, that the bottom is not organized. We've left our SMEs out there like mushrooms in the world. And what I'm going to do is to work with Esther and all the SME manufacturers, SME exporters, put them together and make them ready to receive money. Because money is one thing, and having an organized architecture that can be able to receive money is another thing. So, Esther, I hope I've convinced you, so you convince my boss. And let me add here, when some counties are giving me land to do common user facilities, other counties are saying they want land, they want to encourage squatting on public land. And that difference, Your Excellency, will start to show. I'm not in a mood to fight. I've fought enough in my life. But you start to see the difference between progressive counties that want to be partner to us and Kenya Kwanza government in developing the manufacturing agenda, the export agenda for the benefit of our people. And counties which make a wrong turn and take us to the past where we were fighting and being antagonistic, you are going to see them start to lag behind others. When that happens, don't blame it on witchcraft. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you, Moses. Just to add, I intentionally decided to have a ministry for SMEs and cooperatives. Because for a very long time, SMEs have been relegated to some department in some corner. And by so doing, sometimes they get forgotten. I now have a minister who wakes up and sleeps SMEs and cooperatives. To do two things, to make sure that SMEs are organized, to make sure that SMEs are made business ready, and to make sure that SMEs are made funding ready, so that we can catapult SMEs to the next level, where we create big corporations out of small SMEs. For the record, Equity Bank, that is telling us today they have $780 billion or something like that, was once upon a time a small SME somewhere in Moranga. So the small SMEs that you see here today, the outfit run by Esther and all the other small and micro enterprises here, have the capacity to be huge corporations if they get a hand up or a leg up, and if they get the necessary support. And I want to promise you that that is why I am sitting here, to give you assurance that we are going to work with you so that we can grow our SME sector to help us create wealth in our country.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Waziri Kuria, it seems your job is secure.
Yes, Your Excellency, as we close, there is a question that was posed from the floor, and this is because of the issue of climate change. In the world today, you'll find industrialists actually have exhausted their carbon credit. Now, in Kenya today, because of the drought, we are trying to raise funds so that we can support certain areas. What is it that we can be able to do to utilize the open space that we have in this country so that we can be able to leverage on carbon credit?
Precisely, that's why I attended a session in COP27, where we were discussing about how to grow, how to expand, and how to make carbon credit markets much more accessible, simpler, and carbon credit funding, not to fund intermediaries, but to find the actual people who do the real work on the ground. You may want to know that at the moment, 80% of all carbon credit financing end up with intermediaries, auditors, assessors, and the rest of them. The people who bear the brunt and who do the hard work of making sure that our environment is safe get the short end of the stick all the time. So in this particular arrangement, and that is why we were having this session, shortly, we are going to have a law that will govern matters to do with carbon credit so that to make sure that it is transparent and it is accessible to the people who actually should benefit from that carbon credit regime. So the Ministry of Agriculture and all the other ministries that are related, including forestry, we're going to put it together so that we can deal with the challenge of climate change and unlock financing that can help us mitigate and provide for adaptation mechanisms for the climate change effects that we are suffering as a nation.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I think we get to a close that session, but we as the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we want to commit to you and to your government, Your Excellency, that we shall reorganize and we shall reorganize ourselves so that we can be able to partner with the Kenya Kwanza administration. Thank you very much. Terian.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Our panelists, you may now take your seats. And I'll hand over to Mr. Wanjohi.
Thank you very much. We may be seated, please. With the gracious permission of Your Excellency, just before I invite Cabinet Secretary, I will request just 1 minute for Mr. Kiprono Kitoni and Mr. Kitone kindly, just 2 minutes kindly. And after that, Minister Moses Kuria will take up the program.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Chamber President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Allow me first to say that this is a proud moment for the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. President, in 2007, during our AGM in Kakamega, which was scattered by the police at 11 a.m., if you came to the field after the event, there were sticks and stones. However, those sticks and stones did not break our bones, and I'm glad that we lived to see this day today when we have an AGM that brings together the real practitioners of the private sector. Mr. President, thank you. You walked this journey with us. Not once, when you were Deputy President, not once did we come to you to help the business community and you refused. You helped us when we were putting in our bid for the World Chamber Congress. I brought business people to you many times. And thank you, Mr. President, for keeping the faith. One day I came to your office at the DP's office to tell you that we had given up the fight to try and take over the chamber. And I remember we had lunch in your office, and when you came into the lunchroom, you said to me, "Umefukuza wakora, umetook over." And I told you I was actually coming to resign, but I couldn't tell you because you told me, "Go back and finish the job." Let me just say quickly, Mr. President, that capital is a coward. Global capital seeks to come to Kenya. There's too much money in the world seeking a home where it can earn a return. What the business community globally and locally wants is predictability, is reliability, is seriousness in approach. And I think in the last 1 month since you took over, the business community has had more time with leadership than in the last 10 years. And if that's anything to go by, Mr. President, I think we are in for good times. Mr. President, finally, let me just say we appreciate very much your choice of Moses Kuti as our cabinet secretary. He's engaged, he's focused, he's resourceful. The other day, he told the PS, some of the CEOs in his ministry, that atawaendesha kama gari ya miraa. And some of them wanted to resign, but I think we know we are in for a time when we have to work as a country to lift and raise all the boats. Mr. President, I think what these people want is just an environment that is predictable. What these people want, and Mr. President, the KRA has been trying to dig too deep into our pockets. We need the chamber and such like bodies that can actually expand the tax base in order to allow you to fulfill the agenda of helping this country. Mr. President, you promised us 10 IPOs at the NSC. So I'll conclude by encouraging all of you SMEs, open CDS accounts. Do not miss the IPOs. And finally, I commit to you, Mr. President, that we, the business leaders of this country, we will work single-handedly to make your agenda a success. Thank you very much, sir.
Waziri Kaidli, thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Chairman, President of the Chamber, the Board of KNCCI, Chamber members, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I want to thank you yet again because of your continued commitment to our business and economic agenda. Your presence here today is yet another manifestation that what we told the people of this country, that the economy will be at the heart of our administration, is actually becoming a reality. All your trips that you have made out there are in the names of business. Even when you went to COP27 for the environment, I hear you are more interested about carbon trading than about the environment. Because the economy is really at the heart of your administration. And we want to thank you. And even here locally, I want to apologize because these people, Kiprono, myself, Gatia, we've pulled you from one event to the other. We really apologize, and we promise to do it again. Because we have to continue with this until people get to understand that really the economy is at the heart of this government. And I'm pleased to hear one of the young men who are presenting there talk about how they are going to contribute to the NSSF. It means that message of yours is getting somewhere. It may appear difficult, but tunashika. So just be patient with us. Tutaelewa tu pole pole. So just the same way you fed us on the bottom-up agenda until now it has become a national anthem. The Hustler Fund has become a national anthem. So even the other things we're trying to do, like mobilizing savings and organizing the bottom, tutaelewa. Like yourself, I'm a fan of the chamber. I've worked out there for close to a decade. And out there, when you buy a car, you need to get a stamp from the Chamber of Commerce. When you buy a cat, you need to get a stamp from the Chamber of Commerce. When I got my children, before I get them from the maternity, I need a stamp from the Chamber of Commerce. And I would want to see a situation whereby our chamber, because chambers are recognized all over the world, and having our chamber recognized, and I'm going to work with the chamber here, with your permission, to actually see whether we can be able to entrench the chamber in some form of legislation so that it's anchored somewhere within the law. And to give it a framework through which your government and the chamber can be able to engage in a structured and formal manner. 15 years ago, former president, your predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta, when he became Minister for Trade, and I was his advisor, and he asked me, where are we going to start in this trade ministry where all the time somebody has to be up there in the air from one global meeting to the other? And at that time, the chamber was not attractive at all. There were fights every day. And I did one thing. I drafted for him a letter. We took it to the UNDP with a certain Mr. Charles Kahoto. I don't know whether Charles Kahoto is here. Yeah? And Mr. Mureu here. We drafted together 15 years ago. And we started the process of reforming. The UNDP supported us, gave us a grant of 50 million shillings to support the chamber. And then we had a Kofi Annan movement where we brought a gentleman called Githere and one Kiprono Kitoni, and we reconciled them. And the rest is history, and that is why we are here we are today. So we thank you, and I want to tell you that within the chamber, kama uko hapa hujapotea, there was only one small problem because the mandate which we wrote for them did not include doing politics, and hapo katikati walipotelea wakaanza kufanya siasa. Lakini wameniambia two things, that hata hii uchaguzi imeisha, some of them was not supporting us. But they have told me two things. One, they have told me that they are glad that their side that they were supporting did not win. And two, they have promised me that going forward, they will leave politics to politicians and work to build the chamber so that we can be able to work together. And I want to promise them that even us, as Kenya Kwanza government, we are not going to ask of you to do politics on our behalf. All we are going to ask of you is please manage business, help the SMEs, help to grow our export, help to grow our manufacturing. Our politics we can do for ourselves. The project of reforming the chamber that Trademark East Africa is undertaking to be able to organize the bottom is a shared agenda with our government. My ministry is involved in that particular initiative. I want to thank Trademark East Africa. We're here. Ahmed Farah, we've had many meetings. Mr. Ngati, and I want to say that that project has got the full support of the government of Kenya to reform, to register every SME. Because we keep on arguing. The other day, we had having a meeting with yourself, Your Excellency, with KRA, and one, Dr. David D, said we have got 4 million SMEs. But the enterprises registered for VAT are close to 300,000. And I want to see a situation whereby after we are done with this project of digitization of the chamber, we actually donate that list and become an agent, a partner of KRA, because we are going to do everything possible to improve the business environment. We are going to go to every length to support manufacturing, create common user facilities, merge our licenses regime, but also we want the chamber to be our partner in matters of tax collection. And it's not tax collection by force. We want to move to a regime of voluntary tax collection. And they have told me that they have no problem paying taxes. The only problem is that we let the taxes pile up, mpaka siku ya kulipa inakuwa sasa story ingine. So under that program, we are also going to work on a situation whereby every day KRA will be going home with their money and leaving the businessman with his money. So hakuna mtu anakibiza mwingine. Yeah? So because when the tax is paid installment every day, what we are calling the tax at source, and do it on a voluntary basis, then we are going to meet each other and be friends. Your Excellency, we are successfully piloted that in the betting industry. For the last 2 weeks, every day, the company that is in that pilot scheme, every day they are going home happy because KRA has been collecting its taxes daily basis, real time, and they have been doing their business. And the betting industry is telling me that they are happy now because they are sure Hakuna mtu atawakimbiza. So we want to extend that and work with these members of the chamber so that we can be able to reform that. Export-led growth is another of our core areas as Kenya Kwanza government. And as I've said, we are going to have common user facilities, not just for manufacturing, but for export within our counties. But even further than that, and I want to announce further what we announced yesterday when we met President Ramaphosa, that we are going to build warehouses and common user facilities, not just in our counties, but also in our key markets. We are going to build warehouses in Johannesburg, in Cape Town. Just this morning, I had a wonderful meeting with our ambassador in DRC who is here. So we are building 3 warehouses, one in Kinshasa, one in Goma, and one in Lubumbashi. What that means, even if you don't know any customer in DRC, just come to our warehouses, place your goods there, using e-commerce and other techniques. We are going to sell on your behalf and just remit money to you. You don't need to know anyone. And we are, in our first phase, we are going to also to extend that to Dubai and also to the UAE. Your Excellency, I have seen our friends from the stock market is here, and I don't want to lose that opportunity by saying, one, we want to have a new conversation. The old conversation based on borrowing, based on debt, based on budget deficit belong to the old Kenya. I have a new passport I'm giving these people, and Gatia was among the first people to receive it, what we are calling the new passport. The new passport to a new conversation based on opportunities, based on investment, based on trade, and based on shared prosperity. Sio kuongea mambo ya madeni kila wakati. I'm not saying that debts are not good. I've seen bankers here and don't want to be blacklisted. But we are saying at the same time, let's have a new conversation. And I'm discussing with the chamber how they are going to join our common investment pool for the private sector, what we are calling Sanduku, for partnering on our affordable housing and other projects. We have agreed with the Nairobi Stock Exchange that they will take up on our behalf our commodities exchange, so that partnering with the Kenya National Trading Corporation, we can be able now to start trading goods on the NSE the same way that the shares are being traded, and that will lead to a very efficient market. Finally, Your Excellency, because you have done so much for us, we have a gift for you today. And that gift, which these people know very well, we have a facility known as the Joint Loans Board, and most of these people are partakers of that Joint Loans Board. The Joint Loans Board, so far, has lent, we have got close to R1 billion out there, and we are holding their titles, their driving licenses. I want to return them to them. In return, they will join the Hustlers Fund. So when you are counting your customers for the Hustlers Fund, count that already you have got R1 billion out there, which these people will come and convert. And in addition to that, and I've discussed this with my colleague Simon Cherugui, we have got $250 million that has not been dispensed. So that money, I've just told my peers, by close of business, when we have got the regulatory framework, must be transferred to the Hustlers Fund. So not starting the Hustlers Fund, we have no excuse now. Pesa iko, nimekupatia pesa leo. And also, the trade officers who are dealing with this Joint Loans Board are going to be retrained on dispensing the Hustlers Fund. And we are donating to Simon Cherugui 2 trade officers in every county. Each county will have 2 trade officers, already they are on government payroll, and they'll be the nucleus of the people who will be working with the chamber and with our SMEs to give them the education and the training they require to make the Hustler Fund a success. Nowadays, everybody's talking about the Hustlers Fund, including very big manufacturers, very big people who I didn't even know that they know that a Hustler exists. But because of your continuous education, everybody is singing the same song of the Hustler, and now because of our donation, we can be able to kick off. And with those very, very, very few words, let me take this opportunity to invite my good friend, my boss, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to address and invite the President.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Commander-in-Chief of our Defense Forces, Dr. William Ruto, CS Moses Kuria, the leadership of the National Chamber, in commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm happy and delighted to be here to accompany my boss in a forum where his heart is. I had different engagements, but last night he asked me to accompany him here because he wants witnesses around him as we turn around the economy of this country. And Your Excellency, you have instructed those of us who serve under you that you want a complete turnaround of the work ethics in this great republic. And you have told us so many times, and we have heard, that you want every leader who serves under you to keep time so that we save time and make money. You have told us that it's unacceptable in your government for any leader who serves under you to keep the business community waiting even for 5 minutes. And that is why we were here on time, because that is the way things are being done in this country. Your Excellency, you have indicated, and rightly so, that your administration has brought a new management style of continuous engagement with stakeholders. And that is why for the last 1 month, you have engaged the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. You are here today. You are the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And you have created time for the creators of wealth. These people, Your Excellency, to be truthful, had been incited against us. They were told we are bad people, that we don't mean well for business, that we only care about the hustlers. They even went ahead to threaten them that we can take away their wealth and the balance we give it to the hustlers. These people now know that we are the people they needed around this country. The problem of Kenya for many years is just one. Professors of political science, the greatest economists, can write many things about the problems of Kenya. The problem of Kenya has been one of leadership. And you people know, for your companies to succeed, it must start with the CEO. If you get it right at that level, you are good. True or false? What Kenya needed was a CEO who knows what he's doing, who has time, who has the energy, who has the passion, and who is willing to be a team leader of this great country. And I want to say, much as you people were incited against us and you almost gotten lost, the ordinary Kenyan knew the kind of leadership this country needed. But be as it may, from where I sit, listening to the president every day, his leadership revolves around investors, entrepreneurs, the business people, and creating the right environment for business to thrive and for creating wealth. Never again in this country, under the Ruto administration, will government ever criminalize enterprise, because it almost brought this country to a halt, where people who have no idea about business, people who have no idea about investments, people who have no idea about banking, they were let loose all over the economy and almost brought this country to a halt. That will not happen again. Finally, Your Excellency, we are having a serious crisis because of the adverse effects of climate change. 4.3 million Kenyans are facing starvation. 2.5 million herds of cattle are dead. There is danger to wipe out our wildlife. And we are having meetings to look for short-term solutions, mid-term and long-term. I want to appeal to all of you to give a hand to the people of Kenya. Tomorrow we have an engagement with our development partners and our business leaders. And I'll extend an invitation to about 10 people from the chamber to represent you so that we agree first on the short-term interventions, which is to mobilize money and food for the people of Kenya. When your leaders come back to you, I want to appeal to you with a lot of humility. If you can afford 100,000, 1 million shillings, 2 million, 3 million, whatever you can, please, let's put the resources together so that we join our development partners, because charity begins at home. Even as we talk to the foreigners to assist us, we must have a local effort. So when that appeal comes, please give us whatever you can in terms of cash, in terms of food, through the Red Cross and other mechanisms that we shall create that are credible and transparent so that we save life. It will be unfortunate if we lost a single life of a Kenyan when you have some little money somewhere that you can be able to put to that use. And you business people, because of the president's commitment to turn around the economy and make business thrive, he gave you the best. Moses Kuria, make use of him. Make use of him. He has the energy, he has the passion, he has the drive. And this guy, Moses Kuria, was misunderstood. He had too much energy and nobody was using him. So he had to do other things to keep busy. The president has now deployed him appropriately and positively. So please make use of him. Finally, mimi sitaki niharibu hii mkutano, lakini mimi nauliza swali moja. Ama niwache nitaharibu? Eh? Niulize? Mtanijibu? Sasa nyinyi, surely, even if you believed that we are useless, the way you had been told, na hiyo uongo yote na vitina na propaganda, ati sisi tutaharibu biashara, tutapeleka mahasula nini nini, wale walikuwa namwambia, the alternative they were giving you, tuseme ukweli, hao wangeweza kuamuka mapema kuja kwa hii mkutano? Tuambiane ukweli. Surely, let's be truthful. So hata nyinyi mlituangusha. Because surely, the way the economy of this country is, you need somebody even with energy. Energy, leave alone other things. Energy to do the right thing and to make sure that we get moving. So another day, join the people of Kenya in making the right decision. With those very many remarks, it's now my privilege to present to you a great man whom we have given the responsibility to turn around the economy of this country, President William Samoei Ruto. You are President.
Asanteni sana. Let's take our seats. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Mr. Deputy President, for those kind remarks. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry leadership, Minister President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this roundtable aims to shed more light, clear more pathways, and generate solutions that enable our business community engage more robustly in sustainable, incremental, and mutually beneficial exchange. We will focus mainly on the digital and creative economy, manufacturing, business environment, climate change, and agriculture. It will become clear that these issues align with the urgent deliverables set out in our plan for rapid social transformation of our country. Therefore, they resonate powerfully with our government's agenda. Stakeholders are clear, listening to them most of this morning, that they want to see the digitization and automation of transactions in order to take more economic activities to the domain of the digital economy. Towards this end, export documents will be digitized to reduce transaction costs, and business information will also be digitized and consolidated in an integrated portal. And Moses Kuria here has the brief on how to go about it. There is also a strong request to reduce tariffs on digital products, not only to lower cost, but also increase incentives for developers, as well as traders and consumers. And I listened to Magdalene, she spoke so passionately about that. And to strengthen the sector through education, skills, and training, we shall have a strong program to support the establishment of innovation hubs for the development of skills, talent, and incubation of startups, and the whole array of services and funding instruments, from funding startups to making sure that we have venture capital so that we can do more research and more trials of what works. We will also deepen the teaching of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and entrench an apprenticeship framework in the education curriculum. I have already instructed the ministry in the TVET sector to make sure that our TVETs are made technology compliant and more apprenticeship and more industrial training and industrial attachment is carried out as a means of equipping our young people with the skills that can make them job creators. The truth is that we are living in the digital age, and e-commerce is a big part of our economic reality. Consequently, it is important that we empower small businesses to thrive in the online marketplace. Our first order of business is to develop a policy framework to protect and support youth in the creative economy. This entails facilitation and capacity building of mainly youth-owned MSMEs. And as I said earlier, that is precisely why I pronounce myself on the creative economy under the Ministry of ICT and having a standalone ministry for SMEs, because this is the sector that will turn around, in my respectful view, our economy. The second related agenda is the urgent need to lay down MSME-friendly consumer protection and intellectual property frameworks. Through collaboration with county governments, we also intend to refurbish and equip existing facilities. And I'm grateful that many county governments are now volunteering facilities for us to work together with them so that we can modernize facilities which have been neglected or degraded into modern recreational centers, and where youth can train, can learn, practice, and generate incomes from showcasing their talent. As it pertains to manufacturing, MSMEs must be supported to participate in supply and value chains through establishment of processing plants and common shared facilities. The cost of production must also be lowered significantly through lower energy and input costs and a more supportive tax regime. As I have said, our tea, we are selling 95% of our tea in a semi-processed state. And I have said that we are going to have a common user facility in Mombasa at the Dongo Kudu complex so that we can begin the journey to add value to all our teas, create jobs, and access better value for our farmers. It is also essential to develop a sound and competitive industrial knowledge base by entrenching research and development of facilities and training SMEs on appropriate technology, new and cost-effective machinery, as was said by my good friend from the Juakali sector, that indeed we can develop appropriate, effective machinery locally, working with our Juakali sector. This is especially urgent in the agricultural sector, which can unlock tremendous new potential merely by deepening technology penetration. Finally, it is time to upgrade current markets to serve as modern manufacturing centers, complete with shared facilities for small businesses to enable them produce consistently at competitive rates. And I have committed that we are going to modernize our markets countrywide, starting with 20 markets in the city of Nairobi, to be able to ensure that our business people have habitable, decent, healthy environment to carry out their business. And I confirm that there exist promising opportunities for the private sector to invest in key development projects in various sectors under the PPP model, and we will deliberately create opportunities for the private sector to tap into key development projects through this partnership. Case in point is our housing program. We have said deliberately that 40% of all our investments and work under the affordable housing plan will be done by micro and small enterprises in the Juakali sector and other sectors. And already they have demonstrated capacity to do it. In one project alone in Kibra, the Juakali sector will take 40% of the cost of that project by doing doors, windows, hinges, and all the other products. And we have already aligned them with a TVET so that they can be able to improve the quality of their product. Because of all these activities we are looking forward to, and it will be essential to assure all our stakeholders of consistency and integrity in the market, as was said ably by Kiprono here. I have just returned from COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, where I marketed Kenya's green credentials. Apart from our clean power generation from hydro, geothermal, wind, and solar, we are aiming to secure a global leadership position in carbon adaptation through an unprecedented drive to grow 15 billion trees in the next decade. And I look forward to the partnership of the Chamber in this endeavor. We also have the intention of following through with our e-mobility and renewable energy, as I mentioned to the Juakali here, that we will work with them on e-mobility to change, to refabricate all our e-mobility tools so that we can be able to transit from dirty energy. In addition, we will invest in constructing shared solar-powered cold storage units to reduce post-harvest losses, increase agricultural productivity, and protect farm incomes, unlocking the true potential of MSMEs in our economy demands that we all collaborate with the private sector. Working together, we will create new opportunities that will transform our economy and our country. And I want to ask all the players working together, synergized, and we will provide the necessary space for all of us to contribute our ideas. And we believe that always a good idea should be able to give way to a better idea. That's how we can move together in unison. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for finding time for this engagement. I value this engagement, and I look forward to many more as we look into the future. Tomorrow, I will be having another engagement with our pension schemes, the people who decide on our savings, again, to be able to work with them to build our savings culture, to secure our present with investments, and to secure our future with pensions. Again, I look forward, as Moses said, working with you to make it easy for business to pay taxes, to make it convenient for business to pay taxes. We will not engage in the business of harassment of our business people to pay taxes. We want to make paying taxes seamless, convenient, and easy for business, because that is how we are going to create the necessary partnership that will enable us deliver public goods using taxes and create an environment for the private sector to create wealth and provide the resources for us to grow our economy and develop our country. Thank you very much.